So in continuation to the previous lecture, we'll discuss the generation techniques of SSB-SC type of the signals. The first method to generate SSB-SC type of signal is frequency discrimination method. Okay, so as the name suggests, frequency discrimination, we are going to generate SSB-SC type of a signal, or rather we are going to suppress the carrier and one of the sidebands based on the frequency components present in the signal. Okay, let us look at the whole process step by step. The very first step in case of a frequency discrimination method to generate SSB-SC signal is multiplication of message and the carrier with a suitable multiplier, which can be your balanced modulator or ring modulator. This multiplier, this can be your balanced modulator or ring modulator. So as we have already discussed in detail, when we multiply MT and CT suitably with the help of a balanced modulator or a ring modulator, the resultant is a DSB-SC type of a signal. So the output signal YT is your DSB-SC type of a signal. Now this DSB-SC double sideband suppressed carrier, it consists of double sidebands. Now we pass it through a band pass filter whose pass band is set appropriately, that we'll discuss further, so that one of the sideband gets suppressed and the resultant is your single sideband suppressed carrier type of a signal. So this is basically the entire process that is being adopted in the case of frequency discrimination method type of the system. Okay, now let us analyze these process step by step graphically. That will give you a better idea of the entire method. So this Y of t is a DSB-SC type of signal which is obtained by multiplication of MT and CT using a suitable multiplier. So YT is a DSB-SC type of a signal. Corresponding frequency domain representation would be Y of omega. So let us say that the spectrum of Y of omega is something like this. It consists of only two sidebands and no carrier signal. Omega C plus omega M, omega C minus omega M. So basically you can clearly see there are two sidebands, right? Now we have obtained Y of omega at this point. Now we further pass it through a band pass filter. Now the pass band of the band pass filter can be such that it can be either the frequency response of the band pass filter can be either this, spreading from omega C to omega C plus omega M. Similarly over here, minus omega C plus omega M, right? Or it can be, the passband can be something like this: omega C minus omega M. Okay, we may use any of the passband depending on the sideband that we wish to retain or suppress, right? So let's say if we are using this kind of a passband of the band pass filter, in that case the resultant would be the upper sideband will be retained and the lower sideband will be suppressed. And similarly, if we use this kind of a passband, then the lower sideband will be retained and the upper sideband would be suppressed. So the resultant of these passbands would be either this, which is nothing but your SSB-SC type of a signal. Spectrum of this is this, right? Or it would be the SSB-SC with lower sideband, any of these two, depending on the type of passband we are using. So this is how we generate SSB-SC type of a signal using frequency discrimination method. The method is pretty simple. We first generate a DSB-SC type of a signal using any of the standard techniques that we already have studied, and then we further pass it through a band pass filter with the appropriate pass band depending on the type of sideband to be retained, right? And the resultant would be SSB-SC type of a signal. Alright, method is very simple, but it comes with several you can say disadvantages or the challenges, right? One of the most important challenge is that designing of this band pass filter. Okay, since ideal filters are practically impossible, so if you want to design a filter, a band pass filter having frequency response as this omega c to omega c plus omega m, it is practically impossible to design. Such ideal filters with such ideal characteristics are practically impossible to design. So practical filters will have some slope associated with it. So this would be the response of a practical filter. And if we pass our, you can say, your double sideband signal through this was your double sideband signal. If you pass this double sideband signal through this filter, you will see that one of the sideband, desired sideband, that is the upper sideband, is completely passed, but some part of the undesired sideband, that is the lower sideband, is also passed, because this is the practical characteristic which is undesired. Okay, so this is the biggest challenge in case of the frequency discrimination type of method to generate your SSB signal. The designing of ideal band pass filter is practically impossible, and the use of practical band pass filter leads to the distortion of the signal. That means some undesired part of the sideband will also be passed. Okay, so now to overcome this drawback of the frequency discrimination method, we go for the next type of the method, that is phase discrimination method. Now before we go further with the phase discrimination method, let's have a brief recap about the Hilbert transform, because that will be used extensively in case of phase discrimination method. So we'll have a quick revision of Hilbert transform. We've already studied about Hilbert transform in brief once. So it is again a kind of a mathematical tool which introduces a phase difference of pi by 2 in the signal. That means if we have a Hilbert transformer and the input signal is x of t, the resultant output will be x hat t, that is the standard representation of Hilbert transform. Okay, and the relationship between xt and x hat t is that they have a phase difference of 90 degree. So this Hilbert transformer introduces a phase difference of 90 degree in xt, and resultant is x hat t. So if you look at the system equation of the Hilbert transform, this x hat t in time domain is equal to xt convolution with 1 upon pi t. 1 upon pi t is the impulse response of the Hilbert transform. This 1 upon pi t is the impulse response of Hilbert transformer, right? So if we expand this convolution operation, so x hat t would be equal to integral minus infinity to infinity x tau divided by pi t minus tau d tau. This is a simple convolution operation that we have expanded. And in frequency domain, this x hat omega is equal to x omega into minus j signum omega. It's a very important expression, this x in the frequency domain as well as in time domain. Convolution in time domain results into multiplication in frequency domain. Fourier transform of xt is, let's say, x of omega. Fourier transform of 1 upon pi t is nothing but minus j signum omega. We have already seen this transformation, that Fourier transform 1 upon pi t is minus j signum omega. So minus j signum omega is the frequency response. frequency response of Hilbert transformer, and this 1 upon pi t is the impulse response of Hilbert transform, right? So now since it introduces a phase difference of 90 degrees, so we can look up to some examples. That is, if we have cos omega ct, its Hilbert transform would be sin omega ct. If we have sin omega ct, its Hilbert transform would be minus cos omega ct. And if you look at the plot of minus j signum omega, that is the frequency response of Hilbert transform, it is something like this. I hope all of you are familiar with the signum function. So we are just multiplying it with minus j, right? Alright, so this is the plot for the minus j signum omega, which is the frequency response of the Hilbert transform. Now let us study the phase discrimination type of the method to generate SSBSC signal. I'll first draw the circuit diagram for this phase discrimination method, and then we'll understand the working of it. Yeah, so this is the circuit diagram for the phase discrimination type of the method. Now let us analyze this method step by step, and also analyze it mathematically as well as in terms of the graphs, right? That will give us a better idea. So we have clearly two branches over here, upper branch and the lower branch. We have a multiplier here, two multipliers in both the branches. The input of these two multipliers are MT and the carrier signal. Similarly, the inputs to the multiplier on the lower branch is your Hilbert transformed version of MT and Hilbert transformed version of the carrier, and further they are added or subtracted depending on the type of sidebands to be retained. Now let us analyze this whole circuit. Y1 is the signal coming from the upper branch, and Y2 is the signal coming from the lower branch. Okay, so Y1 is nothing. Y1t is multiplication of your message and the carrier signal. This local oscillator generates the carrier signal, that is AC cos omega ct, right? So Y1t is nothing but multiplication of MT and carrier, right? So Y1t is AC MT cos omega ct, and if you take its Fourier transform, it would be AC by 2 m omega minus omega c plus m omega plus omega c. This is the Fourier transform of this. Multiplication in time domain results into convolution in frequency domain. So this transformations we have already seen several times now. And similarly, Y2t is multiplication of m hat t. This is your m hat t, and this is Hilbert transformed version of AC cos omega ct, which is nothing but AC sin omega ct. Okay, so Y2t will be your AC into m hat t into sin omega ct, and if you take its Fourier transform, it will result into AC upon 2j m hat omega minus omega c minus m hat omega plus omega c. Alright, so these are the frequency domain expressions for y1t and y2t. Now let us plot these expressions and find out the resultant. Let us assume the spectrum of the message signal m of omega is something like this. It spans from minus omega m to omega m. Let us assume this is the spectrum, any spectrum of the arbitrary message signal, right? We are well aware of the representation of minus j signum omega, minus j signum omega is something like this, right? Now we know m hat t is what? M hat omega is what? M omega into minus j signum omega, right? We've already seen this relationship. M hat omega is equal to this. M hat omega is equal to m omega into minus j signum omega, because minus j signum omega is the frequency response of Hilbert transform. So m hat omega is multiplication of these two, right? So if you multiply these two terms, we get m hat omega, and that is something like this. Yeah, so this is multiplication of m omega and minus j signum omega, that results into m hat omega, or the Hilbert transform of message signal in frequency domain, isn't it? Okay. Now y2 omega, y2t is this, and this is your y2 omega, and this is your y1 omega. So if you look at y2 omega, it is shifted versions of m hat omega, right? Shift by omega c. It is shifted version of m hat omega multiplied by some scaling factor. As simple as that, right? We have m hat omega with us. y2 omega is equal to ac by 2j and shifted version of m hat omega minus omega c minus m hat omega plus omega c. Okay, now let us plot this y2 omega based on this m hat omega. So y2 omega will be something like this. And this point is your AC by 2j. So, and the other one would be something like this. Yeah. So this will be your y2 omega, that is shifted version of m hat omega, right? Shift by omega c and minus omega c. Shift on the right side and the left side appropriately. Similarly, y1 omega, if you look at y1 omega, it is shifted version of m omega only. Okay, m omega is simply this. So again, we'll write down, we'll plot y1 omega, that is shifted version of m omega only. Omega c plus omega n, omega c minus omega m. Similarly on the left hand side, minus omega c. This is y2 omega and this is y1 omega. Now if you analyze the circuit, we have signals y1t and y2t. Those are finally added or subtracted, right? So now, and we have already seen the spectrum of y1 omega and y2 omega. So the spectrum we have already seen, it is spectrum of y1 omega is this, and spectrum of y2 omega is this. Now the final step is either addition of these two or subtraction of these two. So if we add these two, that is y1 omega plus y2 omega, what will happen? This upper side band is negative and this is positive, and they are equal and opposite, so this will cancel out, right? And we are left with twice of the lower side band, scaled version of the lower side band, similarly on the negative part of the frequency. So if we add these two, we are left with only the lower side bands with us. So this is SSB SC with lower side band, and if we subtract, you will find that we are left with the upper side bands. Okay, so this is how we generate our single sideband suppressed carrier type of a signal using frequency discrimination type of method. By frequency discrimination, that means we are shifting the we are introducing a phase shift of 90 degree in the signals to generate, to suppress one of the sidebands and the carrier signal. Okay, so this is how we simply use the phase discrimination method to generate your SSB SC type of a signal. I hope this method is clear to all of you. Okay, so that is all for this lecture. We'll continue with some challenges associated with this phase discrimination type of method as well in the coming lecture. Thank you.